Mounting suspicions the White House may be stonewalling the release of more Epstein files. Several sources told MS Now Democrats on the House Oversight Committee believe there has been an intense White House cover-up on the files, and fears Attorney General Pam Bondi will weaponize what they call sham investigations to keep critical evidence from reaching the public. Here's what lawmakers said about it today.
I don't really care who is in the files. At the end of the day, right is right, wrong is wrong. And if you are truly about law and order, then we should be looking for who it is that has broken the law.
I don't know how the Congress could be clearer on this, Christian. The Congress, Democrats and Republicans, nearly unanimously said release these. And right now, Pam Bondi has suddenly started a new investigation. If she refuses to release all of these Epstein files, this will be against the spirit and the words in that law.
Joining me now is the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee and our friend, Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia of California. He is also on the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. So welcome, Congressman. Let's get into it, because you, sir, sent a letter this week to Attorney General Pam Bondi, stressing the Oversight Committee subpoena requires her to release the complete files, regardless of any loopholes in the recently passed bill allowing DOJ to withhold information relevant to ongoing investigations. Are you concerned the administration will try to use dubious legal grounds to redact or withhold mentions of President Trump? And if so, what options does the committee have to enforce the subpoena?
We are very worried. I mean, I think we should be very clear. Donald Trump has been leading a massive cover-up. There's no question. Pam Bondi has been helping. Mike Johnson and Republicans have been complicit. And it wasn't until we forced this vote that now we're seeing Republicans actually go on the record and join us in a really strong effort to get these files released. One thing that we've been concerned about is, as you know, Alex, there's two efforts. There's the subpoena through the committee, which demands a release of all the files. Then there is now this law that was passed, the Massey resolution, that does the same thing. And they both work together to get these files released. But what Pam Bondi is doing now is she's essentially saying that if there's an open investigation, that somehow that would possibly, as we all know, could lead to not releasing all of the documents. That's concerning to us because that's obviously language that's in the law. It's very typical in these types of laws. What the Attorney General needs to remember is that our subpoena doesn't have that language. Subpoenas always enforce and push documents to the Congress, oftentimes, sometimes classified, even if there's investigations ongoing. So the AG has no recourse in trying to hide all of the files. She has to give them to the committee, even if she tries to slow down the process of getting them to the full Congress. And so we will use everything we have in our ability, legal, the courts, pushing public opinion to get the files.
Okay. And in addition, let's talk about the volume, because sources have told us that committee Democrats emphasize the documents released to the public are just a tiny fraction of what all the DOJ has. So the committee is pursuing information from other places? Like what? And what's next in the investigation?
So the subpoena that we put in place for the Department of Justice for the files, they've released essentially one group of documents, a very small group of documents, basically 30,000 pages, which seems large, but actually tiny compared to what they actually have at the DOJ. And what they released was essentially already available to the public, some court documents. Where we've been getting actual interesting information, like the birthday book and the birthday note that folks saw, or the emails that people started to read last week about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, that has not been through the DOJ. That has been through a separate subpoena we have with the Epstein estate. And that is a place where Donald Trump and Pam Bondi can't stop our work and our investigation. We expect more documents from the Epstein estate. We know that there are they're very, very large voluminous amounts of, we believe, photographs, emails, flight logs, other documents that we're going to get whether Pam Bondi wants us to or not. And so we need both the documents from the estate and the documents from the DOJ.
The Ghislaine Maxwell factor here. The committee, we understand, shelved plans to depose her after her lawyers said she'd plead the Fifth. Former SDNY prosecutor Maureen Comey, who is suing the administration for her unlawful firing, was prosecuting Epstein when he killed himself in prison. So does the committee want Comey to testify? Who else could be called?
Yeah, we are reaching out to just about everyone. And so don't be surprised in the weeks ahead, you'll be hearing a lot of names that we intend to speak with. And what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell is horrific. You have essentially someone that trafficked children and girls. She should never have been moved to this essential new facility where she is getting VIP treatment, having access to all sorts of people. We understand she's having meetings that we know nothing about, and no one will tell us why she was moved or who gave the orders to move her. We've been demanding that she be deposed in front of the Oversight Committee in a bipartisan way. And now, of course, she is saying through her lawyers that she won't testify. And James Comer, the chair, seems to be okay with it. And we need to push back. She needs to be in front of the committee. And so the Oversight Republicans, the White House, they keep playing cover for Donald Trump. We're going to get to the truth, and we're going to get justice for all of the survivors. And we're going to continue to fight every single day on this issue.
I want to get your reaction to the president, who has escalated his attacks on 6 Democratic lawmakers who posted a video urging military personnel to refuse illegal orders, and then the president accusing them of sedition and saying they should be in jail. Thursday, he called their actions seditious behavior punishable by death. Senator Alyssa Slotkin has received hundreds of death threats, including a bomb threat at her home. How do you respond to the president's comments?
I mean, really outrageous and really dangerous. We know that we're living in an era of political violence. The president knows that. And this attack that he went on and did online was a direct attack that motivates some of the worst parts of our country. And they are all, I have some of my colleagues who I've spoken with, they're receiving serious death threats because of the president's actions. He has yet to apologize, and they're worried not just for themselves, but for their families. To have the president of the United States somehow hint towards some type of execution or death, essentially saying that they're traitors to this country, is unprecedented as it relates to presidents, but also incredibly dangerous. And every American, Republican, Democrat should call this out. And I worry about not just those that he's called out, but I worry about all of the other folks that he will continue to call out, that he will continue to weaponize the government against. And he will continue to rally some of his base, which quite frankly are quite dangerous, against not just members of Congress, but anybody else that tries to stand up for him. Okay.
Congressman Robert Garcia, thank you so much for your time. A happy Thanksgiving to you. We are thankful that you're on the job, and we just go on record with that. Appreciate it.
Let me tell you something that should make your blood boil. Right now, right this second, there are thousands upon thousands of documents sitting in government filing cabinets. Documents that could tell us who Jeffrey Epstein's powerful friends really were. Documents that could finally give survivors justice. Documents that the Congress legally demanded to be released. And the Trump administration is doing everything in its power to make sure you never see them. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating for clicks. Democratic lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee are accusing President Trump and Attorney General Bondi of orchestrating what Congressman Robert Garcia calls a massive cover-up. And when you look at what actually is happening behind the scenes, it's hard to argue they are wrong. So buckle up, because what I'm about to walk you through isn't just another political scandal. It is a masterclass in how power protects power, even when the crimes are unspeakable. I want us to start with the facts, because they are damning enough on their own. Congress just passed a law, the Corner Mercy Resolution, demanding the Department of Justice to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Sounds great, right? Finally, transparency. Finally, accountability. Finally, maybe some justice for the women and girls Epstein trafficked and abused. Except there is a problem. Actually, there are two problems. Problem number one, the law contains what's called an ongoing investigation exemption. It's pretty standard language that allows the DOJ to withhold information if releasing it might compromise an active criminal investigation. On paper, this makes sense. You don't want to tip off suspects or contaminate evidence. But here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean absolutely infuriating. Attorney General Bondi has allegedly just started a new investigation into Epstein. Convenient timing, don't you think that? The moment Congress demands transparency, suddenly there is a fresh investigation. That whoops. requires all those documents to stay locked up. Democrats on the Oversight Committee ain't buying it. Congressman Garcia sent a letter to Bondi, especially saying, we see what you're doing and it's not going to work. Because here's the thing, the House Oversight Committee also issued a subpoena for these documents, and that subpoena doesn't have the same loophole language ongoing ongoing investigations. Congressional subpoenas are powerful. They compel the production of documents to Congress, even classified ones, even during ongoing investigations. The Attorney General, legally speaking, has no recourse to hide these files from the committee. But will she comply? That's the multi-million-dollar question, or should I say, the question that powerful millionaires and billionaires desperately hope never gets answered. Now, let us talk about what we do know, because it makes what we don't know even more terrifying. The DOJ has released approximately 30,000 pages of documents so far. That sounds like a lot, right? There is the problem. According to Democratic lawmakers, this is a tiny fraction of what the DOJ actually holds, and much of what they did release. Although public court documents, stuff that was already out there, they essentially recycling all news and calling it transparency. But the Oversight Committee didn't stop there. They did something clever. They issued a separate subpoena to the Epstein itself. And this is where things get really interesting. I want you to listen, because Trump and Bondi can't block the same way they can stonewall the DOJ. Through the state subpoena, we've already gotten some bombshell documents: a birthday book, a book, a birthday note, emails between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, flight logs, photographs, and so much more. And this is just the beginning. The committee expects very, very large, voluminous amounts of additional material, more photographs, more emails, more flight logos, the kind of evidence that connects dots, the kind of evidence that powerful people spend millions of dollars to keep buried. Think about that for a second. Really think about it. If the documents they're allowing us to see show connection between Trump and Epstein, what do the documents they're hiding contain? What names appear in those flight logs? What activities are documented in those emails? What evidence exists in those photographs? And here's the most chilling question of all. Why would an administration risk a massive constitutional confrontation with Congress, risk the political fallout, and like the accusations, the investigations, just to keep these files hidden? There is only one logical answer, because what's in those files is worse than the cover-up. The House Oversight Committee is not backing down. They are reaching out to just about everyone for testimony. Ghislaine Maxwell, yes, that Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice and co-conspirator, is being demanded to appear for a deposition. Her lawyers say she'll plead the fifth. Democrats say she needs to show up anyway, make her invoke her constitutional right on camera, and out question by question, let the American people see someone refusing to answer questions about child trafficking. They are also calling Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, who was a federal prosecutor handling the Epstein case when he mysteriously died in federal custody. She knows things, she saw things, and the committee wants her testimony on the record. The Democrats on this committee are using every tool at their disposal: legal action, court battles, public pressure. They're not playing around. This is not performative policy. This is lawmakers genuinely trying to get to the truth despite overwhelming obstruction from the executive branch. And we need to talk about why they are meeting such fierce resistance. This is not just about Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, yes, obviously it's about Epstein, about the guards he trafficked, the women he abused, the justice they have been denied, but it's also about something bigger. It's about a system that protects the powerful at all costs. It is about an elite class that believes they are above the law because, let's be honest, they usually are. It's about the comfortable truth that our institution, the DOJ, the White House, elements of Congress will close ranks and throw up walls when the crimes hit too close to the people who actually run things. Because here's what keeps me up at night, guys. We know Epstein didn't act alone. We know he had powerful friends. We know there are other predators who used his network. Some of them are probably in positions of power right now. Some of them probably made campaign donations. Some of them probably attend state dinners and charity galas and are called philanthropists by the media, right? And the system is protecting them. Yes, the system is protecting them. That's what this cover-up represents. It's not just about Trump Though his connections to Epstein are well documented and deeply disturbing, it's about an entire ecosystem of wealth and power that will do anything to avoid accountability. And just to make this whole situation even more dystopian, let's talk about what Trump is doing to the lawmakers trying to get these files released. President Donald J. Trump has been escalating dangerous rhetoric against Democratic members of Congress, particularly those leading the charge on the Epstein investigation. We are not talking about normal political criticism. We are talking about language that has directly resulted in death threats against these lawmakers. Let us sink in for a moment. Members of Congress are receiving death threats because they are trying to investigate child sex trafficking. This is witness intimidation on a national scale. This is using the bully pulpit of the presidency to endanger lawmakers who are literally just trying to do their constitutional duty. And the message is clear. If you come after the powerful, we will make your life hell. We will seek our supporters on you. We will make you fear for your safety. This is not democracy. This is authoritarianism with a flag pinned in a spray tan. So where does this leave us? The Epstein file represents one of the most important transparency fights of our generation. These aren't just documents. They are roadmaps to justice. They are evidence of crimes. They are answers that survivors deserve. And every single obstruction, every legal maneuver, every ongoing investigation, excuse is another day that powerful predators get to breathe easy. The question is not whether Trump has something to hide. The obstruction makes that obvious. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Because this is not a problem that magically fixes itself. Powerful people don't voluntarily relinquish power. The truth doesn't automatically trump over lies. Justice doesn't just happen. It requires pressure. It requires accountability. It requires people like you refusing to let these stories disappear down the memory hole. So here's what I need you to do. Share this video, talk about this issue, contact your representatives, make noise, because the only thing the powerful fear more than the truth getting out is the public actually caring when it does. The Epstein files are out there. The evidence exists. The truth is knowable. The only question is whether we are going to fight hard enough to see it. Thanks for watching. Don't let them bury this story. This is the News Ancho. I hope to see you in the next one.